Now, as an angler, I've always enjoyed catching fish. For me, it doesn't matter what the species is, whether that be big or small, catching loads or just catching one. I think the enjoyment for me is the chase and the elation when you catch one. But having said that, there is definitely one species that I fish for occasionally that has the biggest mystery about it. And that is, of course, the eel. There's so many rumours about them. How do they get in lakes? Not everybody knows. The mythical stories about them going over land when it's dark and wet and taking 10 years to grow just 1 pound. All of that really does drum up the mystery behind the eel. So I don't think I could call myself a multi-species angler if I didn't go out and target some of these mythical fish every now and again. So that brings us to exactly where we are now, Suffolk Water Park, fishing on what is actually their carp lake. But I know that this is home to quite a few eels and there is a chance of a big one. So excitement is high. I think, I'll be honest, I've never caught what I would class as a really big eel. I think for me, anything over 4 pound, you could probably say is a really big eel. They are pretty special. You've got to think, that's probably 40 years old, a fish like that, but they definitely go bigger than that, so there is definitely a chance. But they are pretty nocturnal, so really there's absolutely no need to rush. I'm going to have a leisurely setup, get myself all nice and sorted, and hopefully once this sun dips down in a couple of hours we can start the real fishing. Be on already. I'm sure I'm gonna have a look. We are in already. Who said eels fish in the dark, feed in the dark? It's a myth. They feed all the time. Not even got. Wow, look at all them bubbles, look. They go mental, don't they? But yeah, I literally just put that rod out and we are in. It's got to be an eel. You can tell there's only one fish that fights like this. They swim backwards as fast as they swim forward. They're a real interesting fish. Like, they just don't give up. You've almost got to pull them past the net before you can net them. Go on. Yeah, oh no, he's out again. Get in there. Right, first job is put a bigger net on because that was hard work. But we've caught ourselves a first eel, even though it was hard to get in a net. I cannot believe how quick that was. What have we been fishing? 10 minutes? Might not have enough bait with me. Get in there. And there he is. Normally, the gentler you are with them, the less that they wriggle. So if you just try and just be really gentle with them, they're not absolutely mental, but they're just so cool. They literally look like dinosaurs, don't they? It's so weird. And that's why I think they just have that air of mystery about it. And I can't believe how quick that one has been. There's me saying that it's going to take a while. And this one's actually one with a bigger head. What you find is two different, well, I tend to see there's two different styles of eels. Some of them have a big fat head like this that normally eat fish. And then you catch the ones with a smaller head, which I think definitely eat worms. I think in its time, this one, it's probably a little bit of a roach muncher, but he's behaving. Look at that. Just be gentle with them and they will behave. Bye-bye, buddy.
first job is put a bigger net head on, because that was tough work. What we want is a big gap between the spreader block and the end, so that is going to be much better. But we're going to get the other rod back out there and we'll get you on number 2. Someone's got to do it. Is that the way? I think he is. No. Oh, definitely done us. Look at all them bubbles. They are normally tricky little things to hook, so I'm not expecting that to be an odd occurrence tonight, but that's a bite on the other spot as well. That can probably go. Surely not. Found a little eel den. Let's go, everything's kicking off. Well, that is as well, you know. Thing is with them, you don't have to strike like you are when you're carp fishing. We've got that little bit of twig plastic on there, which I'll talk you through. So as soon as they feel resistance, they drop it. So if you can just let them have a little bit of line, and we'll see. Done us as well. 2 under the eels. They're back though, they're back. Those 2 rods are back out there fishing. I think it could be a busy night for me and Chris. We're going to get a few drop takes, and they're not necessarily eels. There's loads of fishing here. There's skimmers, roach, carp. Anything could be making those drop takes. And also the rig that I've got set up here, I've already mentioned this bit of plastic, but I'm going to come on to it in detail in a moment. This definitely stops you deep hooking them. So I would rather have drop takes than I would deep hook eels. Like I said, they take like 10 years to grow a pan. You've got to look after them. I am more than happy to miss a few runs, but look after them when I hook them. But let's have a look at the setup. So I've got, as a rod wise, I've got my Corum big water rod in 12 foot. Some people might think that that's quite heavy for eel fishing, but you see them in that first fish, they fight extremely hard. They swim backwards, they spin. So you do want to be sort of geared up for them. So that is why I go for a slightly heavier setup than perhaps maybe people might expect. Now I've got my standard bait runner reel. That's loaded with 12-pound line. Again, seems quite heavy, but they're not exactly rig shy fish, and they do fight very hard, like I said. But basically, the magic happens in this rig here. So they hate resistance, absolutely hate it. So I've got a Corum free running rig on here. It's the bolt and run kit with just the free running section, and a 1.5 ounce lead, completely free running up my line. That comes down to a little buffer bead, which houses a very, very free rotating swivel. So like I said, they do spin. So that swivel, if they spin, absolutely stops your hook links from spinning up. And while we're on a hook link, I've got a coated braid hook link in 15 pounds. But the most important bit is this little bit here. This is the most important bit of the rig. If you're going to take anything away from eel fishing, pop this into your fishing. I can't claim any credit for it. Luckily, I work with Phil Spinks. He does a lot of eel fishing. He's put me onto this. He didn't invent it, but he's used it to great effect, and it stops deep hooking. So this is a bit of solid plastic tubing in between 2 float stops, and basically it stops the eels going any further than that tubing. As soon as they feel that, they don't continue to swallow it, so you're only ever getting that far into the eel's mouth. It really, really does work well. And this is actually just the inside of a biro, so I've washed all the ink out and just put a little solid bit of plastic in between 2 float stops, and the only bit of braid that's uncoated is the tiny section between that and my hook. And I've got a size 8 barbless hook. Again, barbless just for super ease for unhooking them. A little bit of shrink tube on there to make it all neat. And that is pretty much as simple as it gets. And on this rig, what I'm going to do is, because those rigs are on worms, and we're definitely having a little bit of inquiries, like I said, not necessarily from eels, but other fish could be eating them as well. I'm going to go for a little deadbait roach head on here. So a tiny little roach head. And then I'm just going to tip that with a red rubber maggot. Now that's just for stopping the bait to come off. It's almost acting as a bit of a bait flag, you could say. And that is hopefully what the bigger eels are going to come on. If we still keep getting pestered with other sort of species, I might switch more over to this, but I didn't expect to catch as quick as we have. We're definitely happy to take that. And there we go. That is my eel fishing rig. We're going to get this one out over near that overhanging tree to the right and see what this produces. So in keeping with the non-resistant theme, you have to marry that up with your rods as well. So if you'll notice, I've got my rods splayed out and I'm pointing directly at where I'm casting. Now, a lot of people actually use back indicators or drop-off indicators, and I don't actually own them. So what all I've done is I just use my little indicators I use for all of my fishing, and I've just put them at the back of my bank stick, and it's just long enough to hang underneath my reel, so that keeps it under just enough tension. When we get a bite, that pulls out of there, clips out, and we're completely free running. So it is really important to keep things free running. And let's just turn that down a bit. Ooh. And that is all set. Like I said, clips out of there, and it is absolutely perfect. Nothing like a bit of improvisation. You don't always have to go out and buy specialised tackle. What you've got normally can do the job. There we go. That's free rods fishing. Go have a look at it. You never know. Way on the fish head. Ah, yes, we have got him. I thought I'd come off then. He's literally coming straight in. There's me saying how well they fight. That was a tiny, tiny little bite. He just clipped out and then stopped running. Now he's going to give me some lessons, because we got trees everywhere. It's not a very big one. This is what I was saying, even the small ones, they give you some serious issues. He's tail walking. Whoa. Whoa. Diving for them roots. What I need to do is pull his head right to the spreader block and then lift up. Just like that. Get in there. Did you see it? That's so cool. Are you ready for more eel juggling? If I be gentle to you, you can have a little look on the camera. Less you touch them. It's so weird, like you just hardly touch them and they sit still. Some people do actually say if you turn them on their back, they stop moving as well, but don't know how true that is. I don't do enough eel fishing, but I think, yeah, that is one thing that I've heard before as well. But they're not the easiest fish to hold. They're not the easiest fish to actually catch, but I've said it before, they are one of the most mysterious. Just absolutely crazy little things. That way. Oh, they aren't half slimy, are they? Like people moan about bream, you try and hold an eel. Cool. As we headed towards dark, we frustratingly, but not surprisingly, had many more drop takes. Whoa, that one's motoring. Oh, I think it's dropped it. Yeah. Yeah, that one's on. Hat trick before dark. Ah, oh, pulled out of it. Felt it for a millisecond and pulled out of it. Oh, that is odd. That can't be an eel, can it? What was that? That was absolutely motoring. Ah. No, I've caught a carp rig. So maybe that was a trailer carp. That's all I can think, maybe. Because that was motoring. are now coming in to what you would say is prime eel time. Really has lost the light, almost nearly going to put the light on the camera, and it's been hectic. Like loads of clip outs. I'm not convinced they're all eels. Some of them clearly are, because I've already caught two, I've pricked one. Like it's just a lot going on. So I didn't quite realise it was going to be this hectic. I perhaps expected it when it was dark, but not up to this point. So I think we've actually just had a little bit of time to make a cuppa, interrupted by one drop take, but I think it's going to let them free fish now. And if I get another drop take, what I might do is swap either two of them, all of them to fish, because the one with the little fish head has only had one clip out, one bite, and it resulted in that eel that you saw us catch. So I can deal with sitting here with not too much going on if it's going to result in a confirmed eel and more takes that actually result in fish. So let's see what happens. Let's finish this cuppa if we get a chance. It's looking good, and I am excited for tonight. That's so hot. We have our first night bite. Again, after a couple of drop takes, we are playing a fish. Real crafty little things, these eels. They're tough to hook. Get in there. You didn't outsmart me. Your mates might have. It's a bit bigger. Nice. That is much better. Now behaving, just really hard to hold. It's a shame because they're such cool fish. It'd be nice to be able to get a real nice picture and frame them nicely, but that's about as good as you can get with an eel. That's about as still as they will sit for any period of time. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to weigh it just to see how big it is, really. Scrap that. I was going to weigh him. My batteries and my scales have gone. That's a schoolboy error. I think that's over £2. Yeah, that's a nice eel. But hopefully we don't catch a massive one, because we won't know how big it is. Early morning eel juggling. We have been kept up all night. If I look tired, it is because I am. Little fellas like this drop takes all night, and I don't know, are they just really outsmarting me, or are they just those little ones that are pulling at it? I know what you're all thinking, it doesn't take a lot to outsmart you, but yeah, I do agree. But I would like to think that it's the small ones that are getting away with it, and then once they get to this sort of size, you can catch them. I've caught a few at this sort of size. We haven't shown you them all because, you know, once you've seen an eel like this, you've probably seen enough of them. But, you know, I'm hanging around for that mythical beast, the one that's as big as your arm. That's what I want to catch. And there definitely is some big ones in here. So we've got about 2 hours left. They've actually got to be off at 8 today because there's some carp anglers coming on and the swim's booked out. But yeah, definitely in need of some sleep, in need of some coffee, but we're going to go all out, big fish baits. And we're going to go for broke, big fish or nothing, because we need to catch your granddad. Oh, that feels a bit better. It felt a bit more weight when I struck into that one. Whoa. Right, I don't think it's massive, but they do, they just pull. To be fair, it's a bit bigger. It's not tiny, and it's actually really nice to catch them in the light because you can actually see what's going on. Yeah, definitely getting bigger. Look how cool they are. So that is it, gear loaded, back in the car. A really enjoyable session, something I probably don't do enough of, and I think a lot of us fall into that category. We didn't manage any of the real big ones. I want to catch a massive eel, the one where you just absolutely shocked by the size of it. If you know somewhere we can go, let us know. If you don't mind us sharing where it is, because it's a dream fish of mine to catch it. Still really good fun though. Definitely get out and try and catch some eels if you haven't. Like I said, there is that air of mystery about them that you just never know where a big one could turn up. They don't really get fished for, so they can be absolutely anywhere. But we are going to head up home. I do hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll catch you very soon on the next one. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.